everyone, it's Julia, and today I have an easy sewing project that combines two of my favorite things, sewing and paper crafting, or mixed media, or maybe I should just say mixed media supplies. And I have a lot of them. So anytime I can combine the two and use some of those supplies that I kind of hoard in a sewing project, I'm happy. This project also I think would make wonderful little gifts for co-workers or teachers. I'm going to include them in with my daughter and daughter-in-law's gifts for Christmas. And so I hope you enjoy this. I'm making these little sachets and they're turning out so cute. They're filled with lavender seeds, and they're just lightly stuffed. And I'm using all sorts of different stamps and stencils. I am using some of my snippets of lace and leftover scraps and some free motion stitching on them. It's a great place to practice free motion. And also little buttons and just trinkets, and they're just turning out really, really sweet. For this project, I am using a 3" by 4" piece. Each sachet takes 3 by 4" This is just natural muslin, and I'm also lining it with like a natural cotton fleece. This is like a quilting fleece. The lavender seeds that I am using, I will link down below. I picked them up off of Amazon, and you get a whole pound, and I think the price is around $12, $13. So it was relatively inexpensive, and there's a lot of lavender seeds in a pound. Let's just say this is gonna fill a lot of little sachet bags. And I hope to sell these at craft shows too. I think they'll make a nice little Christmas gift, so I think it'll be a nice little add-on item. I also use a little bit of stuffing in them, and I'm just using the cluster stuff. It helps keep just the structure of it a little bit and fill them out a little bit more. There's about 1/4 cup of the lavender seeds in each of the little sachets. I do finish the sachets with my pinking shears. So a pinking shears is nice to have. It's optional. You could just leave the edges raw, or you could sew right sides together and turn it. But this is just such a quick way of doing it with the little pinking shears, and it just kind of adds to the, I don't know, the cuteness or the whimsicalness of it. I have a variety of stamps picked out, ink pads. I am going to be using some of my Distress Oxides. I'm going to try it. I know it's going to work really well on fabric because it's very opaque, not washable. This is not a permanent ink, but neither is lavender seeds. So I'm hoping that, you just don't wash this. This is just going to be something that you put in your drawers. Love it under pillows too. It just kind of has that wonderful good night sleep scent. I am using a variety of little stencils. I have my Inktense pencils out too. I may be filling in just a little bit of color or detail. And then also I just have snippets and lace and different things that I have, and I have a whole box of this at my sewing machine. And once these are all stamped, I will set up my camera at the sewing machine, and you can kind of see me adding some of the little lace and little things that I might want to add to each little sachet. This is going to be like a sped up video. I'm going to just be doing some stamping, and at the end I will show you I'll show you how I finish them off and how I fill them, and also give you some close-up shots of some of the finished ones so you can kind of see them up close. I'm doing a bicycle theme for this first one, adding a little bit of color with a Distress Oxide through a stencil. This color is Salty Ocean. I really love it. Adding the little bike stamp and a little sun stamp, and using my archival ink for this. The little tag that says "Enjoy the Journey," I got that stamp at the dollar spot in Michael's a few years back, and I've used that stamp a lot. I'm adding a little color with my Intense pencils. I have my fabric medium out, and I will activate this color with my fabric medium with like a scrubber brush, a brush with real stiff bristles. And here I go and
applying that fabric medium just to activate it and get the color going. On to the next one, again using a stencil for the background and the Jane Davenport face stamp. I have the Donna Downey words on this one also. I just love how this one turned out. Adding that color through a stencil. This is Distress Ink, and I believe it's Wild Honey color. Love the color. I'm using my Distress Permanent Mixed Media ink palette for this face stamp in the color Ground Espresso. I'm going to link as many of the items down below as possible. Some of these things are no longer available, but I will get as many as I can. I've took some of my lace that I have picked up throughout the years and wanted to add just like a little headdress on this one with the lace. I end up just kind of pinning this in place, cutting it down, pinning it on place, and I will take it to the sewing machine and get that into place when I do the other stitching. The stamp that I used is from the Donna Downey collection, and it says Be Bold. And I did kind of mess up on this a little bit. You can see the bottom of the shadow of and I fixed that at the sewing machine. One thing I love about this kind of a project, whether it be mixed media or clothing or sewing, you can usually fix it. This one I'm again adding color through a stencil. The first stencil didn't work very well for the green, so I went ahead and I did a different stencil. And this is an itty bitty stamp by Unity. It's just a really sweet little flower stamp. It says hello along the side of it. This time when I'm adding the color with my Inktense pencils, I'm dipping it into the fabric medium and then going right to the little design. And I like this a little bit better. This was easier for me to work with. Now I didn't do anything fancy with this coloring. I didn't do any shadows. I didn't do any highlights. I didn't do any blending. I just got the ink on, and maybe that's for another video. This next one is a really fun technique too. Using my Distress Oxides in Picked Raspberry and Wild Honey, I'm applying the ink directly on the stamp and then sprinkling a little bit of water on it and then stamping it on the fabric. It gives for a watercolor effect that's just really nice. Stamping using my Permanent Mixed Media. I'm at the sewing machine now, and this is a layer of the top muslin and the quilting batting, kind of deciding where I want to put this. When I'm laying my items on, I'm just mindful a little bit about the edges because these will be sewn on the edges, especially for the buttons. I am changing the foot right now and we'll be putting on a button right over the top of that little lace motif. Just kind of doing a little tutorial on how to change the old button or the old foot here. Snapped it right on and then it goes right underneath. This is the slickest way to put on buttons. I will never put on the buttons the old-fashioned way, I don't think, again. It's just it's so quick. Now onto the face, adding that lace on the top, and just kind of did like a little gather to kind of fit it into place. And now fixing that little boo-boo that on the bottom where the stamping is, just kind of covering that up, that little mark there, with another little piece of lace. On the bicycle one, I basically just did some free motion going around, attached the little sign that says enjoy the journey. Change my thread on this one to brown, and I'm again just outlining using a free motion stitching on it. Now to complete these, I'm just stitching down on 3 sides, leaving the bottom open, and I'm just taking a 1/4 inch seam allowance on this, going all the way around. I'm making sure to do a little back stitch when I start and when I finish, just to secure the stitches.
I'm filling my little pouches, and I take about approximately 1/4 cup of the lavender seeds, and I just have like a little bendable little cup here. It's easy to pour. Opening up my little pouches and pouring in the seeds. I'm also adding just a little bit of fiber fill to kind of fill it out a bit more, and just to kind of keep it soft, keep the structure of it. Now it's back to the sewing machine, and I'm going to be just finishing up the bottom just by stitching straight across. I have the bottom sewed now on my little sachets, and I'm going around and I'm finishing all the sides with my pinking shears. One thing I love about this project is it's pretty forgiving. Even if your things aren't quite lining up, the pinking shear is just gonna take care of that and get everything all even. And that's what the finished little pouches look like. And my whole sewing area just smells so wonderful right now. So I hope you enjoyed this. I'm trimming these, and then I'll take some close-ups of these and also some of the other ones that I've been working on. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you have a chance to create today. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.